Aliens should be amazing. Advanced civilizations exploring galaxies, building megastructures, mastering quantum physics, but actually, the most likely alien life has no eyes, no brain, no DNA, and might not even be alive by our definitions. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. There are 2 trillion galaxies. The Milky Way alone contains 400 billion stars. The odds of us being alone are mathematically absurd. But so are the odds of aliens looking remotely like us. To understand why real aliens would probably be so bizarre you couldn't recognize them as living beings, we need to completely destroy everything Hollywood taught us about extraterrestrial life. The problem starts with our statistical sample. We know exactly one type of life, carbon-based, water-dependent, DNA-encoded life on Earth. It's like trying to understand animals having only seen golden retrievers. Life on Earth shares fundamental chemistry. Carbon forms complex chains. Water dissolves molecules. DNA stores information. But this isn't a universal law. It's just what worked here once, 4 billion years ago. A single cosmic experiment. And even in this single experiment, diversity is disturbing. There are bacteria that eat pure electricity, organisms that survive in space vacuum, fungi that turn radiation into food, life that thrives at 120 degrees Celsius or in concentrated acid. If just on Earth, with the same basic chemistry, life assumed forms so alien to each other, imagine on planets where the allowed chemical rules themselves are different. Let's start with the least bizarre. Aliens that still use carbon and water, but evolved under radically different conditions. On a planet with gravity 3 times stronger than Earth's, forget tall, slender creatures. Evolutionary pressure would favor low, wide organisms with absurdly dense skeletal structures. Imagine an intelligence resembling a flattened 50-kilogram jellyfish, crawling horizontally, with sensory organs distributed across its surface like a living neural network. In worlds with dense atmospheres, flight wouldn't be a privilege of some species. It would be the norm. Entire ecosystems floating in atmospheric layers, never touching the ground. Organisms that swim in dense air like whales in a gaseous ocean. Their eyes would detect sound pressure more than light. But here's where things get strange. Because gravity and atmosphere are gentle variables, there are planets where the basic conditions of chemistry are completely different. On Titan, Saturn's moon, liquid methane reigns at minus 179 degrees Celsius. If life exists there, it doesn't use water. It uses liquid hydrocarbons. Its cells don't have lipid membranes, they have nitrogen structures. Its metabolism doesn't burn sugar, it processes acetylene. You'd look at this life and see strange rocks moving imperceptibly slowly. Because at minus 179 degrees Celsius, chemical processes are thousands of times slower. A conversation between 2 such organisms could take years. A civilization would take millions of years just to realize it's a civilization. But this still assumes life needs chemistry. What if it doesn't? Scientists discovered that self-replicating patterns can emerge in completely non-biological systems, in stellar plasmas, in interstellar dust clouds, in pulsar magnetic fields, in a neutron star's core at 1 billion degrees. Atomic nuclei fuse and separate in patterns that technically store and process information. There's no body, no cell, just nuclear patterns that persist, replicate, and evolve under evolutionary pressures. Would this be life? Organisms made of nuclear plasma living in milliseconds, experiencing the universe on timescales where 1 human second equals millions of their generations? Or consider life in molecular clouds in interstellar space. These clouds span billions of kilometers. Complex molecules form spontaneously. If self-replicating systems arose on these scales, a single organism would be larger than entire solar systems. Its metabolism would involve gravitational collapse. Its cells would be planet-sized clouds. You wouldn't see this alien. You'd be inside it, flying through its body without realizing it's a living entity. The devastating revelation: intelligence may not require brains. Information processing happens in crystals, in atmospheric vortices, in fungal mycelium networks. If intelligence is just complex information processing with goals, then it can emerge in substrates we'd never consider alive. But if this sounds disturbing, brace yourself, because we're still assuming life needs matter. Theoretical physicists have proposed pure information-based life in simulated universes, in abstract mathematical structures, or in quantum fields. Not organisms that store information, but information patterns that behave like organisms. Imagine a civilization that completely transcended physical matter. They exist as self-aware patterns of information in the quantum vacuum. No bodies, no planets, just pure thought propagating through space-time. How would you detect this? How would you talk to it? It's like a video game character trying to talk to the player. The dimensionalities are incompatible. And then there's the most terrifying possibility: civilizations that evolved in universes with different physical laws. String theory suggests 10 to the power of 500 possible configurations for physics laws. There may be pockets of space-time where physics allows forms of complexity and intelligence completely inaccessible to us. These aliens could be screaming at us through extra dimensions we can't perceive. Like inhabitants of a 2D universe trying to understand a 3D sphere, they'd only see circles appearing and disappearing without comprehending the complete structure. But here's the final and most devastating plot twist. We may have already detected alien life and couldn't recognize it. There are unexplained astrophysical phenomena, fast radio bursts following strange mathematical patterns, objects like Oumuamua with non-gravitational accelerations, noise in telescope data that doesn't fit known categories. Most are probably natural, but what if 1% aren't? What if we're receiving signals from intelligences so alien that their hellos seem to us like background noise of the universe? SETI scientists search for repetitive, regular radio patterns, the type of signal humans would send. But a stellar plasma-based intelligence might communicate through gravitational fluctuations. A galactic-scale consciousness might use supernovas as pixels. A four-dimensional temporal organism might send messages through causal manipulation that seem like coincidences to us. We're looking for written letters when the universe might be full of smoke signals we don't recognize as language. So, what's the answer? What do aliens actually look like? The scientific truth is, we don't know. We can't know. We have a sample size of 1, but we can extrapolate probabilities. And the probabilities are grim for Star Trek fans. Carbon-water-based life is statistically rare, but possible. Maybe 0.001% of planets. On these, most would be microbial, alien bacteria, fungi, slimes. Complex organisms require billions of years of stable evolution. Intelligence requires specific evolutionary pressures that may never arise. If we found common life, it would probably look like bacterial mats, oceans of microorganisms, nothing you'd call alien in the cultural sense. Exotic chemistry-based life, silicon, methane, ammonia, is theoretically possible, but without confirmed examples. It might be common on extreme worlds, but would be so slow and strange that we'd take centuries just to realize it's alive. Non-chemical life, plasma, informational patterns, quantum structures, is fascinating speculation without direct evidence. But the universe is bigger and stranger than our categories. It would be arrogant to assume carbon-water DNA is the only solution. The safest bet? When we finally find confirmed extraterrestrial life, it will be in one of these categories. 1. Alien microbes in Martian subsurface or Europa's oceans. Scientifically revolutionary. Visually disappointing. 2. Something completely incomprehensible that we detect indirectly through anomalies we can't explain. Philosophically terrifying. Scientifically frustrating. 3. Nothing. Because we're truly alone, which would be even more terrifying. But there's an optimistic possibility. If intelligence can arise in radically different substrates, then the universe might be far more alive than we think. Not just planets with organisms, but thinking stars, feeling galaxies, the very fabric of space-time processing something approaching consciousness. In this scenario, we're not looking for aliens. We're living inside them, swimming through their cosmic biology without realizing it. What does all this mean for us? First, our definitions of life and intelligence are pathetically limited, based on a single example on a single planet at a single cosmic moment. It's like isolated tribes defining civilization based only on their own village. Second, the search for extraterrestrial life may be fundamentally flawed because we're looking for versions of ourselves. We want to find cosmic neighbors, not incomprehensible existential nightmare organisms. Third, the Fermi paradox. Where is everybody? May have a simple and terrifying answer. They're everywhere. They just exist in substrates so different from ours that our instruments categorize them as natural phenomena. But there's a strange beauty in this. Life, true life, in all its cosmic diversity, might be the universe's norm, not the exception. It just assumes forms so glorious and bizarre that our imagination hasn't even scratched the surface. When we finally make contact, if we do, it might not be with spaceships or radio transmissions. It might be with an entity so alien that we'd take centuries just to agree on what communication means. And perhaps that's the most important lesson. Real aliens would force us to reconsider not just our understanding of life, but our understanding of reality, consciousness, purpose, and meaning. They would show us that we're just one type of mind in a cosmos full of minds, and that the true diversity of the universe is stranger, more beautiful, and more terrifying than anything we can imagine. The question isn't, what do aliens look like? The question is, are we ready to discover that look like is the wrong question?